Hey there, and welcome again. We're back today and we're going to do some more goat talk. Well, not just goats. What we're going to talk about today can actually affect any species of animal that has hooves. So let's get into it. I'm talking fever lines. Now, the name fever lines can be a little bit misleading because it's not necessarily caused just by a fever. So what are some symptoms of it? You may have seen it, don't really know what you're dealing with. Have you ever had an animal just all of a sudden go lame? They want to walk on their knees, they're acting very tender-footed, but other than that, they seem super healthy. Well, think back a couple of months. Did they get sick? Did they have a huge parasite load? Anything that could have potentially disrupted the nutritional intake that your animal needs. If this happened and you look at their hooves and even the horns and they have this kind of funky looking ridge, sometimes it's an indentation, sometimes it's an actual bump on the hoof, but like it'll be a ring that goes around it. On the hooves, on the horns, it can be the same thing. You may have even had them break spots off where that weak portion is. Well, these are what the fever lines are. Anytime your animal has a nutritional deficiency, whether they do have a fever, they've been sick, and just like us people, when you don't feel good, you don't want to eat. If they're not getting in the proper nutrients and minerals needed, it's going to put a disruption in the hoof and horn growth, which is going to lead to your fever lines. Now, your animal, there's not a whole lot you can do for it. You can do some pain management. I would suggest talking to your vet to see what they would recommend. But the biggest thing is it's got to grow out. Keep the minerals going, keep the nutrition going, keep the feed going so that those lines can get grown out. Once they're grown out, your animal's usually going to be good. I've got a little doe here in one of the pens behind me. I'm going to pull up here in just a second, and I'm going to show you how she's kind of walking on her knees. She's very tender-footed. What happened with her is, if you've watched some of my previous videos, this past spring when we had the rain just dumped on us, which we have not had in years, we had a huge parasite load in our animals. Tapeworms, barber poles, you name it, we got it this past spring, early summer. Well, this little doe kid, it had a really heavy parasite load and we treated her, but during that time when she had the heavy parasite load, the parasites were disrupting the nutritional absorption that she was supposed to be intaking, which gave her fever lines. I'm also going to show you on her horns there where she's got two spots where the tips of her horns broke off where she had the fever lines in her horns. But it's going to be very obvious in her feet. They're kind of shaped funky. We have been trimming them. We've been working with her for about a month and a half now. She still has a ways to go, but I know she will recover because we've dealt with this before and had goats recover 100% from this. So I'm going to go show you what she looks like walking around, and then we'll put her on the stand and I'll show you some up close of what her feet look like. Don't mind my shadows, but as you can see, she's peeing while on her knees. She doesn't want to get up and walk because her feet are hurting. Let me see if I can get her to walk. Come on, sweetheart. See how she's kind of throwing her feet out? You can tell she's very tender-footed. Her feet are hurting. So these are some classic symptoms. I'm going to get her caught now, and we're going to show you up close what her feet look like. Okay, so I'm going to start on her horns here. You can see where they've broken off. We have taken a grinder and just blended the tips so that my kids don't get hurt. But you can see there's an indentation, right? Well, it's kind of hard to see, but there's an indentation where it broke off. Same thing on this side here. Now let's go to the feet. As y'all can see her feet are kind of funky shaped. A little dirty right there, but this is from the fever lines. I'm gonna pick it up here and I can show you. See how weird shape this is? You see now these ridges are going up and down, but most of the time they're gonna go horizontal. I'm sorry, sweetheart. See here, it's taken a while to grow out, but I can't, ideally, right here where I'm pointing is where I need to trim to. But if I trim that far, I'm gonna cause a lot of damage and a lot of pain to her. So this is a very slow process. She gets weekly hoof trims, trying to correct this problem here. You can see her back feet are not quite as bad, but they're definitely not normal. There's the other front foot. Come around here. As you can see, it's not normal at all. You can see there's a really good view of what we call the fever lines right here. And you can see behind how they look also. You can see those lines. Once all this grows out, this portion is nice and healthy. This is the part that had the nutritional deficiency, so it did not grow properly. Once we get this all trimmed out, she should be good to go. Okay, so you've seen how a goat walks with fever lines. You've seen what the actual hooves look like, what the horns could potentially look like. Yes, it is fixable. It just takes lots of hoof trimmings, but it's fixable. Yes, you can do pain management. I would recommend talking to your vet to see if you can get something a little stronger. If need be, just be careful with some of the pain meds because you are doing weekly trimmings on their feet, they could potentially thin the blood out. So just be cautious on that. And that's why I say talk to your vet about this. But as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This problem does have a solution. They do get better. It just takes time. I promise you, we've had a couple of goats go through this exact same situation and they have come out on the other end perfectly normal. So y'all have any questions, reach out. We're here to help you. You guys have a blessed day.